What's up, guys? Welcome to Jeremy Hadler's YouTube channel.
Hello, folks. Today I'll be interviewing my good friend from college who's a Ravens fan, and the Ravens stink also, by the way, Brendan Burke.
I take offense to that, but you're not entirely wrong.
Okay.
We're not the greatest, but...
All right, so we're gonna go through, so what we're gonna do here in this video here real quick is we're gonna go through some questions that we'll be asking Brendan, and then we're gonna go with that, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so let's start with the first question. How did you become a football fan?
So I became a football fan, ever since I was young. My parents were Ravens fans, so, that's really how I got into football. My dad watches football all the time. He used to work for the Ravens, actually, so our family was really into football, so as you can imagine. So yeah, I was kind of indoctrinated into football from a young age, and then been a Ravens fan ever since.
So you became a Ravens fan based off your family and, like, your father working for, like, the Ravens also?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've gotten the opportunity to go to but I've gotten the opportunity to go to my fair share of Ravens games over the years. So yeah, it's been good.
So what has been, like, your favorite Ravens game that you've been to?
Well, I've been to, actually recently I went to the Ravens-Colts game this season, where the Colts were killing us early on until the fourth quarter, and we somehow came back from like a 20-something point lead, which was, which was pretty crazy. Yeah,
that was a crazy game. I remember during that game, I was watching it while also filming my other interview during that. I remember one of my Browns fans, Zach, who we were interviewing, he said, like, when we were watching the game that Ravens are done and this is not going to happen. They're not winning. I'm like, that's going to hurt you at the end of the day. And that was when it was the fourth quarter, and then Ravens won.
Yeah, I got to go to more Ravens games because clearly I'm just good luck, I guess. So, Yeah.
Now, where do you stand with the Ravens right now?
The Ravens right now, so here's the thing. Our record would suggest that we're a good team.
Yes.
But watching the Ravens this season, it's we're 5-2 as of this recording. It's a shaky 5-2, that's for sure. There have been times where we've dominated teams, like against the Chargers, and then there have just been games, like against the Bengals, where our team didn't show up at all. So it's, on paper, we're one of the best teams in the AFC right now, but I'm not so sure. I'm not going to get my hopes up at the moment.
Yeah, I feel like you like the Ravens are just an inconsistent football team. Like, they can beat, like, the great opponents, and then they can lose right to, like, the bad, like, easy opponents. Like, for example, like the Sixers. Like, they do this all the time. Yep. Like, they can beat all the good teams.
Oh, yeah, no. Both of those teams play to the level of their opponents every game, and it's frustrating.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. Now, on December 19th, this game is the Baltimore Ravens and the Packers. Between both our teams, what is your confidence level going into that game?
December 19th, so will Aaron Rodgers be playing by then? Probably, right?
Yes, he'll be playing by then. As long as, like, no COVID issues and all that, like, stuff suspension, like, that doesn't happen. That's only going to be, like, for 1 to 2 weeks of what's happening right now.
Right. To tell you the truth, the Packers are a good team. They're good in the regular season every year. I do think it's going to be a close game. My confidence level, like, from a scale of 1 to 10 is probably like a 6 or a 7. It's not great. Again, it just depends on which Ravens team will show up. Are we going to show up like we did against the Chargers or against the Bengals? We're such an inconsistent team, game by game, or even quarter by quarter, like against the Colts. We don't know how we're really going to play. So I don't know. I think it's a toss-up. I think we're going to make it a close game.
Yeah.
And hey, I think the Ravens are going to win. Just because,
well, what score do you think it will be?
I'm thinking maybe, let's go with 24-20.
I would go 27-24, but yeah, I agree with that. Like, for my team, the only thing that's going to be a problem is stopping Lamar Jackson's, like, running, because our defense is terrible with mobile QBs over the years, with, like, Colin Kaepernick, Jameis Winston we saw in week 1. That was terrible.
Right.
The defense is just basically our problem. Our team's kind of like the Ravens, like, where the first half, we do nothing, we're terrible. The second half, we wake up and we do, like, so well, we win the game. Yeah, we're just like the Ravens also, but we have a better record than them, and we can beat our opponents, but it's just like inconsistency happens sometimes when we're playing the game. And that's just for any football team, but you can see happens that it's going to happen though.
I mean, I think the key for the Ravens in that game is, one, establishing like a run game. We can't get married to the pass like we have in some of our games. We have to do what we do best. And then 2, our defense has to be solid because, I mean, it's been solid throughout some games of the season, but there have been some games where it's looked shaky at best. So those are the 2 things. If we can do those 2 well, I think we have a decent shot.
Now, how well is your secondary? Because I know my quarterback will pick after your quarter.
A lot of teams have been going after Averett. Yeah, teams have been going targeting him as of late because Humphreys is, I mean, one of the best in the league. So. Yeah. They're targeting him. I believe, is he a rookie? I'm not sure. I know he's one of the new guys. But,
okay. I don't remember off my top of my head.
I imagine Rodgers will target him.
Yeah. He does that a lot.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see. It depends on which Ravens team shows up on the day.
I mean, if like the Packers can like establish in the secondary, just attacking that secondary, and then if we're a fully healthy team, like we won against the Cardinals recently, like if we're a fully healthy team, then I think there's like, even if it's in the Ravens, which I don't know what the weather's like there, if it's cold weather or like warm weather, no matter what, I feel like this, like our team's like very confident being, if we're just a fully healthy team, establish Lamar Jackson by stopping him, and we pick off your secondary, and that's it.
Well, the thing about Lamar Jackson is that if he gets frustrated pretty easily, if the offense doesn't really go anywhere, like in the first quarter, like even in the first couple of downs, he'll get frustrated pretty easily. So, and I mean, I don't know. That can either lead to him making more mistakes or him going off for the rest of the game. So it's we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But
it should be a fun game though. That's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah.
I'll be texting you the part of that game. We'll be talking smack at each other. That's part of the game. You always smack talk with like your friends of like.
It's part of the game.
Yeah, it's part of it. Exactly.
It's part of the game.
All right. Now, where do you see the Ravens make the postseason? Hopefully, or they're gonna go far in the playoffs? Or are they gonna win their division wise?
I do believe we're gonna make the postseason.
Okay.
Knock on wood.
Yeah.
Do I believe we're going to be the top in our division? I think it's between us and the Bengals. I will say I think we have a good chance of being top, but I don't know. It is kind of a toss-up. I mean, the Steelers and Browns aren't that far behind, so, I mean, it is really a toss-up between anyone in the division, mainly between Ravens and Bengals. But, I mean, again, the Browns and Steelers can make it too. But I do believe we're going to make the postseason.
I totally see that. Either as a wild card, but I know you want division-wise, but, like, I definitely can see you guys getting a wild card.
I do, too. Do I believe we're going to make it out of the AFC? No, sadly. The problem with being inconsistent in football is that in the playoffs, if you have one bad game, then you're out.
Exactly.
Like, you only have one chance. It's not like it's a 7-game series. So, can I see us having 4 straight very good games in a row? I mean, at this point, no, especially with all our injuries. I mean, I can see us making it to the second round, honestly, and getting knocked out. But, hey, we'll see. I mean, there's a chance that we could get far.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to get my hopes up, though.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel that it's like this division, for what I've seen, it's like the best division I've seen so far this year, despite the NFC West, because I just look at the records and like everyone from your division has done better than the NFC West, which has surprised me a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with like the Seahawks, despite Russell Wilson's injuries, and the San Francisco 49ers not being like the team that they're supposed to be, of coming back from where they were going to the Super Bowl a few years ago. Like, from what I looked, Ravens at top, they don't have the better record than like the Rams or the Cardinals, but they doing pretty well. And then like all the teams about have a 500 record in your division, which has impressed me a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the Bengals were going to be terrible.
Oh, I thought so too. I thought that with that offensive line.
Yeah. I mean, there you go. I mean, I mean, again, it's a toss-up. Our division just in general, I mean, I could see any of the teams making it to the playoffs. So, I mean, we're going to have to keep our foot on the gas here. And we really can't slip that much because, I mean, everyone is on our toes right now. So, we'll see. I think we do have the potential to, like, maybe get far in the playoffs. We have the potential, but it's a long shot because, as we've seen in the previous, like, 2 years, I mean, we're just inconsistent. In the playoffs especially, so I don't know. We'll see.
I feel like the only teams that are a threat to really are the Browns because I know the Browns are down, but like they could turn up with that, like getting that all their healthy guys back at the right time. I feel like they're going to be a threat to you.
Yes.
Bengals, they are surprisingly turning it up with the wide receivers. You have to cover Jamar Chase on Humphrey.
Yeah.
And like you have to watch out for that underrated defense for them. So that's going to be something to watch out for. But the Steelers, I don't think they're a team because of Big Ben. I know the defense is good, but I just don't think like they're a contending team really.
I agree. I think it's between the Ravens, Bengals, and Browns.
Yeah, I just think that's going to happen for the Ravens.
It delights me to say that Big Ben's washed up. Sorry, Steelers fans, but he is.
Yeah.
And Juju's out, right?
Yeah, Juju's out for the whole year.
So.
I mean, they got Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, though.
That's true.
I like Deontay
But
Johnson.
I still don't think it's enough to make the playoffs. But hey, we'll see.
Even with Najee Harris, I just don't think like the Steelers have it because I've felt about Big Ben. He's been what you just mentioned, washed up. I believed he was washed up since Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell left after they lost to Saxonville, what they were called in 2017. That's what they were. And they've done terrible since then. Even make the playoffs, though, they've just not been the team at all.
It really brings me joy to see the Steelers falling off from the Brown Le'Veon Bell days because those games were annoying for the Ravens, to say the least, back in those days. So it's good to see.
Yeah. Now, let's look at the Ravens' schedule real quick. I would say one of the toughest schedules in the NFL. It's basically your divisional rivals where you're going because you're going against the Browns, Steelers, Browns, Packers, Bengals, and the Steelers. So many games. Basically,
none of those games are easy.
No.
None of those games are guarantees, especially, I mean, you can say that the Steelers are, they're a bad team. But whenever the Steelers and Ravens play, I mean, they turn it up to another level. I mean, everyone knows about the rivalry. They're fun games to watch, but even if the Steelers are considered a worse team, they're not going to back down. So none of those games are easy by any stretch of the imagination. So, I mean, I'm looking for us to win the next 3 games, put us up, for 8-3 for the season. And then we have some leeway to lose these tough games the rest of the season, but it will be a struggle, like you said. I mean, we have a very hard schedule. The Browns, I mean, again, they're going to be looking to beat us, obviously, because division rivals. The Packers, I mean, they're obviously a good team. And the Bengals, again, division rivals, they beat us pretty handily the first time they played us, so we'll see how it goes. But this next half of the season it's a crucial stretch for us. We're going to need to step up our game for sure.
And you've already had your bye week too, so that's kind of like an issue too. Of like you already had that, so you got your health, you got some health back, but you're just having your running backs still hurt and all like.
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to have to step up our game. We're going to have to find a way to put together some stretch of wins. I mean, again, I feel like the last stretch of the season after that is going to be very tough.
Yeah, I agree.
But we'll see. Should be fun.
Oh, yes. Who is your favorite Ravens player of all time? Mine, for example, is Ray Lewis, because I've just loved his game of watching him play, especially in the Super Bowls.
Yeah, and the dance, I mean...
I love it.
I mean, how can you not love Ray Lewis?
Oh, it's so fun. Except for, like, Browns, Steelers fans, but still. He's a great, like, Hall of Fame player I've ever seen. Yeah,
I mean, my most favorite Ravens player of all time... I mean, I'm thinking back to the Joe Flacco days. I mean, with, Anquan Bolden, Torrey Smith.
Oh, I remember that.
Back when we won the 2012 Super Bowl, I mean, our team was truly great back then.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd have to say it's probably Joe Flacco. I mean, that's where I got my favorite number from, 5. So there you go. It's a little fact about me, but... Yeah, I don't know. I guess just growing up watching Flacco play and him being the quarterback, he developed into my favorite player. I mean, he's not going to the Hall of Fame or anything. He's not, one of the great quarterbacks, but I mean, he was solid for us, and that's, all we really needed with all the pieces around him. So I don't know. Guess I'm wacko for Flacco now. So there you go.
I mean, I remember Flacco of like. He was great with the Ravens, and then he just didn't do anything else with the other teams. But he was just a great player, like back then.
He was. No, he had a very strong arm. I mean, I feel like nowadays a lot of quarterbacks are transitioning to being more run oriented.
Yeah.
Like Flacco, I mean, he was just one of those, I guess, old school quarterbacks who would not run at all. He'd just stay in the pocket, and if not, then he'd either throw it away or take a sack. But I don't know. I loved him. He had great pieces around him, and I mean, he was the kind of quarterback we needed. I mean, he wasn't the greatest, but I mean, he was solid, and that's really what we needed in those in that stretch of years where he played for us. So.
Yeah, because I've always felt like with like what you just mentioned with Joe Flacco not be like you don't have to have a great like I've always thought this of like you don't need like the greatest quarterback of all time. Like Tom Brady, he's not the quick. He doesn't have the like he has the arm, but he's not like the speed like Lamar Jackson does. He's not like Kyler Murray or Russell Wilson of like he can throw quick, get on the run. Like you don't need that kind of guy of high talent. You can like Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers. But you just need a guy, a quarterback that can do the job right and be a solid guy. That's what you need to win the Super Bowl. Because you have a great defense and have a solid QB. Because that's what's worked out in Super Bowls. Like Tom Brady, that's worked out in most of his Super Bowls, is what I've said. Or the '85 Bears, that's worked out. It is a formula that has worked out for teams that can win. You don't need to go so high up and go draft Troy Aikman if you want to. Like you don't have to do that. You can just get a solid QB and you can win the Super Bowl with that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like kind of trend in quarterbacks is shifting to more running quarterbacks, like I said. I don't know. I feel like, I mean, Lamar Jackson obviously does it well. Now we have this, and then, I mean, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts. I mean, Kyler Murray's doing very well at the Cardinals, obviously. But I don't know. I feel like we're seeing less quarterbacks that just stand in the pocket. They're not, like...
Oh, yeah.
The quarterbacks are becoming more and more mobile as time goes on, which is interesting. So, it'll be fun to see that change play out. But
now, take me through, I remember you just mentioned with the Super Bowl of watching the Ravens. What were your emotions as a kid when you were watching that Super Bowl and you were just watching that? Take me through your emotions of that and the blackout. I remember.
Oh, yeah.
That was, I had never seen that.
So I remember, I was at my cousin's house and we were all watching the Super Bowl. And my parents actually got the opportunity to go to that Super Bowl. Oh. So they were there. That must have been awesome for them. I mean, I know it was. But I remember we were killing them. Up by a lot. Yeah. I think it was Torrey Smith. He had that touchdown from the end zone receiving the punt.
Yeah.
And then the blackout happened. I don't know. We were all stressing out. And then after the blackout, the 49ers almost came back and won.
Yeah.
And that entire time, we were very nervous to say the least. But I'll tell you what, man, if the 49ers won that game, I mean, I don't know if I'd be able to ever truly live that down because of course, it had to happen to the Ravens, the blackout. So that was truly one of the more interesting Super Bowls of all time.
I definitely.
But yeah, thank God we built up that lead early because
it could have been a different ending with that.
Oh yeah, it could have. That blackout completely changed our momentum, and I went from in disbelief in a good way from us beating them by so much to disbelief in a bad way.
Oh, I've dealt with that so much. It's terrible.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Has there been a time as a Ravens fan where you wanted to leave them and you didn't want to cheer for them? Like, you've been so frustrated with them?
There's never been a time where I've not wanted to be a Ravens fan. I'm always going to be a Ravens fan. There's never going to be a time, no matter how bad it gets, where I'm not going to be a Ravens fan. Yeah, I wouldn't say there was a time where I didn't want to be a Ravens fan. Obviously, there's been some down years. I mean, especially like, before Lamar Jackson really rose into prominence, those years before that where we didn't make the playoffs. And as a Ravens fan, I mean, we've made the playoffs so much over the years that it's very odd to not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I guess those were the times where I've been really frustrated. And I mean, obviously, with Lamar Jackson against the Chargers in his first playoff game, I mean, we lost, and then this last year against the Bills, we lost in the playoffs. I mean, it has been frustrating. I feel like we do have a good future with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I see the Ravens have a good future. I just remember, like, Lamar Jackson going into playoffs. He's never won a playoff game. That's what all the media was saying. Like, he's never going to win, all of that. And then he proved the media wrong for that. And then he gets kicked down this next round against the Bills.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that maybe karma caught up to us a little bit, but I mean, I was all for that pettiness of us getting back on the Titans on that one. And yeah, that felt pretty good, but then obviously we lost to the Bills, which was an ugly game for us, but maybe we can turn it around this season even with our injuries, but we'll have to see.
Now, at the start of the season, you had all the injuries when you just start out with all your running backs, your number 1, your number 2, your number 3, all running backs went out except Lamar Jackson, and you had Marcus Peters also get hurt. How has the injury affected this team?
We rely on our run game very heavily, so to lose 2 of our running backs was pretty huge for us. The fact that we've still been able to form a good run game is really a testament to how kind of genius the what's it called, the option, read option.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of a testament to how well the read option works, because I mean, no matter who you put back there, Lamar Jackson draws such big attention that the running backs can get really big holes. So I will say that the running backs was a pretty big loss, but we've still been able to kind of recover from it. With the Peters loss, I mean, obviously that's just huge for us. Averett's done pretty well. I commend him. Obviously would rather have Peters back there. And yeah, it's a tough loss. They were all really tough losses for really was a season where we were supposed to make a big Super Bowl run. Yeah. At the start of the season, it was pretty heartbreaking. We've done quite well, I have to say, despite those injuries. And I mean, I'm proud of our team for doing as well as we have. So I mean, maybe we can keep it going, but we'll see.
Yeah, I always stick even don't make excuses. If your team's injured and all that, don't make excuses. If your team's lost because of that, don't make those excuses.
Right.
It's the next man up mentality is what you must have.
Yes.
And that has worked out quite good for you guys.
It has.
It has also worked out for my team also, but that's the the mindset you must have as a team. You can't just give up right away at the start of the season. If all your good players are getting hurt, you just can't do that. You got to step it up and boom, get into the winning mentality and then keep processing it, and then you're going to succeed with that.
Yep, I agree.
What is the biggest need for this team right now?
The biggest need for this team, obviously we would have liked to not have those injuries, so that's a pretty good need. But
if it was healthy,
if we were healthy, I'd say our biggest need would be to have a better receiving core.
Okay.
Andrews is great. Marquise Brown has his moments where he's great, but he's not consistent enough in my opinion.
Gotcha.
And then other than that, I mean, we really don't have a great receiving core, I don't feel like. That's probably our biggest need at the moment. I think our defense is solid. Our pass rush is solid. I think our offensive line is really good, actually. So yeah, I'd say if I had to choose to better an aspect of our team, would probably be the receiving core, just giving Lamar more options.
In the offseason, I know this is far away, but your first round pick, do you want to go right after a wide receiver, or do you would like to go some other position?
Yeah, I guess it depends on wide receivers in the draft where we're okay, this guy's going to be great. We need to pick him up. Yeah, I mean, I'd like us to go after a wide receiver early if we can. I don't know. I mean, the front office knows more about that than me, so
yeah.
So.
I think the Ravens just need another weapon person to help Lamar out.
Yes.
You have Mark Andrews.
We have Mark Andrews, who's a
one of the best,
a Pro Bowl guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then I mean our next best is Marquise Brown, he's okay. He has his moments. He's a deep threat in some games, but I do think we need a more solid receiving core. I would like us to chase wide receivers early on in the draft. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
with your head coach, do you like him being aggressive on the 4th down plays?
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I think that's another trend that's going on. As the years go by, I think we're going to see more teams going for it on 4th down. I mean, the statistics show that, it's the best strategy for winning games, and Harbaugh's trusting the statistics, and I love that. I mean, I love the aggression, and I think especially with Lamar as our quarterback, he's so able to run and get those extra yards. I think we have a better chance than most teams of making those short 4th downs. So yeah, I love it from him personally, especially if the statistics say that's the way to go. So
I mean, the only time I don't like when a team does that, or my team or your team does it, is just when you're in your own 30-yard line,
right?
And you're just going for I don't like that kind of stuff unless it's it's necessary in the game, you have to. That's the only time I don't like it. But if it's at the 40-yard line from your own and above, go ahead. I'd be fine with that.
I agree.
I'd go for that, but there's like a limit of where I would like
Yeah.
not go for. Like if you're at your own 1 yard line, you
Yeah.
need to get it. I'm
Yes.
like, there's no reason to.
There's
do
a certain point where you have to just say, okay, we just got to get good field position here. Like,
exactly.
So, I agree with that.
Who is your favorite rivalry you'd like to see the Ravens play? Like the Steelers, Browns, Bengals.
Steelers. It's the classic rivalry. Even as the Steelers get worse, every single Ravens Steelers game is going to be a fun one to watch. I mean, there's just so much like bitterness between the two teams.
Yeah.
It's just a different game than most. I think it's one of the greatest rivalries in the league, to be honest with you. So I'm going to be looking forward to seeing them battle this season. Hopefully we win, but.
Yeah, I remember like when I watched that rivalry, the greatest moment I think it was you guys and the Steelers trying to fight for the division, and it was like the Jesse James touchdown, I think it was, where he's going into the end zone and he just gets it by a ruling, or he was short, but Steelers still won that division. You guys didn't get it. I think that was the game. I remember it was like so keyed up, like Ravens trying to get it, Steelers trying to get it. It was like so compact. Like you're just watching that rivalry, like so amazing. Like there's been great moments besides that over the years of just watching the history of that. And it's like one of the greatest rivalries in the NFL.
It really is. I mean, it's just so fun to watch. I remember, I forget what year it was, but there was one where Antonio Brown like stretched and he barely got the touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it was heartbreaking for me, but I mean, it's just moments like that. And I mean, just in general, like just the bad blood between the teams and like the physicality, it's just amazing to watch. So,
how do you feel about Lamar Jackson?
People such as you think he's overrated.
I do.
I disagree with that. I think he has turned a team that isn't a playoff team into one of the better teams in the AFC. Pretty much single-handedly, just because of his threat on the run. And, like, he's getting better at passing the ball. I know you think he's not great.
No.
I think he's better. Against the Colts, he had over 400 yards in passing.
But where has that gone since then is my question. Like,
I hear you.
Like, he needs, like, don't get me wrong. I think Lamar Jackson is a great quarterback with his running. But he needs to build a passing. He needs to have to, like, throw the ball. Even though he doesn't have great weapons, but, like, you gotta throw the ball more often. I don't want to see, like, him run it, like, 9 out of 10 of a run. Like, I like to see, like, he still runs. I would like that. But not all the time is when I have a problem with him about that.
I think, I don't know. I disagree. I think that, I mean, we're a running team. We need to focus on running. Like, we should pass it occasionally just to, you know, change it up. But running is really where our strength is at. Yeah. And even though I know it's unconventional, and I know, yes, he can get better at passing, and he will, he really has kind of transformed the way the Ravens play. And he's transformed them into a team that wouldn't make the playoffs into quite a good team, or at least a lot better than they would be without him. So, I mean, I think he's obviously the most important player on our roster.
Definitely.
I don't think he's overrated just because of the fact that our offense revolves around him, and without him, like I said, I think we'd be a mediocre team at best. I like him. I think this is the beginning of a new era for the Ravens. I think he has popularized running quarterbacks more.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael Vick was kind of the start of that.
Yeah, I see him as the new Michael Vick. That's who I see him as comparing.
But yeah, I think he's a great player. So.
Do you think the Ravens can win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson?
So, yeah, that's one of the common things. It's like, oh, you know, I can't win playoff games with Lamar.
He's won one playoff game. Also, to let you know, folks, he's won one playoff game.
Yeah, I think we do have the potential to win a Super Bowl. I think it'll be tough, just because mainly, I mean, especially this year with our injuries, but it does seem to be that teams have either found out how to stop Lamar, or Lamar's just had an off game in the playoffs or whatever, but I think we can win a Super Bowl with Lamar. I think it'll be tough, but I think we can, especially as he gets more experience. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think we do have the potential to win a Super Bowl. It's unlikely, especially this year. I don't think it's going to happen, but...
I mean, for me, if comparing, like, of saying that, like, if Ravens win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson, hopefulness, I compare that to, like, a basketball of Ben Simmons and the Sixers, because both of them are great at one stuff, and then they're terrible at the other stuff. Like, they have all the talent for, like, this one, like everything, except for one thing that holds them back.
Right.
And that's what's preventing them from winning the Super Bowl.
I mean, I'd argue to say that Simmons is sometimes a liability, at least on offense.
Yeah.
For the Sixers, Lamar Jackson's, I mean, like, obviously his passing isn't great. I'll give you that. I think he's getting better. I don't think he's terrible at it.
I don't think he's terrible. I just think he needs to use. I think he just needs to use it just a little bit more. Like 8 out of 10.
I do think there are times where he relies too much on running.
That's
where he can just stand in the pocket and find someone. I do agree with that. But I mean, again, he'll evolve. He'll grow. He'll learn. He's still young.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just think that, and like, I know the Ravens, they basically made their whole game plan with Harbaugh, all of them to revolve all around Lamar Jackson is what they did, because all he was is just a running. But I feel like if you use some like quick, short, like slant passes, like with that, then they're like unstoppable. That's what I would like. Like, I'm fine with him running. I don't like it. That's just me. I just don't like it. But I'd like him to throw just like a tiny bit more. It's like, do those quick slants. Then you guys can do so well, I feel like.
Yeah. If I don't think we should throw too much, because I mean, running is how we're a running team.
Yeah.
We shouldn't get married to the pass, but I do agree that there are times where he can just, stand in the pocket and find someone rather than just running and trying to do it all by himself. So
I feel like there needs to be a balance. Just a balance. Like, it doesn't have to be like a 50-50.
Right.
But it could be like a 70-30, for example. Like, you don't always have to rely on the runs, what you mentioned, where he can still run it. Then the passing, he just has to use it like a tiny bit. Not get used to it. Just use it when necessary, I would like to say.
That's fair to say. Fair to say.
I think that needs to occur with the Ravens, is what I've seen. Last question here before we go. What needs to improve for this Ravens team? Either the defense or the offense you need to see from them?
I'm leaning towards offense. I do think our defense has been shaky sometimes this season, but I would say our offense needs to improve more. I think both sides need to improve more, but I think generally our defense is pretty solid, whereas our offense, there are times where we can't really get anywhere for long stretches of time. So I think just improving that. And I mean, again, if we had a better receiving core, then that would really help out with the offense. I think that at times it's lacking in that department, but I think both sides are pretty solid at the moment. I'm not complaining, I think, but if we want to win a Super Bowl, I think both sides need to improve for sure. But I suppose I'd lean towards the offense.
Okay. Well, Brennan, before we head off, Brennan, where can the people find you? I know my subscribers will want to hear about you, so where can they find you?
Hey, man, you can find me at your College of Pennsylvania, all right? Just find me, and, I can have a debate about why the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl, not really, and about how the 76ers are going to win the NBA championships this year.
He's a big Sixer fan, to let you know also.
Yeah,
he's a big Sixer fan.
And about how Ben Simmons is dead to me.
Hey, we'll talk about that next. We'll talk about another.
Yeah, in general, next time. But
next time we'll talk about that.
Hey, I mean, your College of Pennsylvania, the best college in the U.S.
Oh, yes. Peppermint Patty.
So, and then, I mean, that's about it. Really.
All right. Well, Brennan, thank you once again.
Thank you, sir, for having me on.
No problem.
It was a pleasure.
All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe on this channel and leave a like on this video. Please leave a like on this video. And anyways, that's a wrap. Have a good day, folks.
See ya.